6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dalwin Samarasinghe and read by Rumesh Pires. First, the headlines. The World Bank expresses its satisfaction with the actions taken by the government to ease the prevailing economic crisis. The Prime Minister points out that unutilized lands should be handed over to the youth for agricultural projects. District development committees will be established within the provincial councils. MP Thanata Atukorala says that the cause of the downfall of the tea industry was stopping the provision of fertilizer. In news overseas, unrest continues in Guangzhou as lockdown anger grows. In sports, it's cricket. The third one-day international between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan is underway at Pallekele. Now the local news in detail. World Bank expresses its satisfaction with the short-term actions taken by the government in order to ease the prevailing economic crisis of the country. They should be implemented in mid-term and long-term. This was revealed at a meeting held between the Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and a delegation of the World Bank headed by Country Manager to Sri Lanka, Chio Kanda. An in-depth discussion on the financial reforms and new reforms that could be implemented was held. They expressed their belief that the loan of 2.9 billion rupees to be given by the IMF will be received soon. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister pointed out that implementation of productive projects will result in solving the prevailing economic crisis. He further said that special attention should be paid to the unutilized lands in the Sitawaka Divisional Secretariat. They should be handed over to the youth for agricultural projects. The President's Media Division announces that the report on the President's plan to establish district development committees replacing the provincial councils are false. Several media institutions have distorted the statement made by the President at the Parliament yesterday. The President said that district development committees will be established within the provincial councils. This was in response to a concern raised by MP Maitripala Sirisena. The President's Media Division further said that no statement has been made by the President regarding dissolving the provincial councils. The Parliament debate on the expenditure accounts of Ministries of Industries, Trade and Commerce, Food Security and Plantation Industries was held today. Minister Ramesh Pathirana said that the tea growers have been paid the highest price for a kilogram of raw tea leaves. An alternative program to increase the income of the small-scale tea planters is ongoing. Several pharmaceutical production companies have established their factories in the island. A new program on entrepreneurship will be implemented soon, focusing the school students. MP Thanata Atukorala said that the cause of the downfall of the tea industry was stopping the provision of fertilizer. She added that increase in transport expenses has resulted in minimizing of black tea production. MP WDJ Seneviratna joining the debate said that fertilizer should be provided and exports should be increased. MP Vimal Veeravansa said that the small and medium-scale industries should be protected in order to stabilize the economy. The human capital of the country should be enriched with innovative ideas. MP Palani Digambaran said that some estate companies have not paid that increased allowance of 1,000 rupees to the workers in the estate sector. State Minister Rohana Disanayaka said that action should be taken to start gem mining in the area of Molgahakanda Reservoir. He added that the gem industry should be developed. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, State Minister Arundika Fernando told Parliament today Attorney General's Department has delayed filing a case against the company that owned the ill-fated ship Express Pearl that caught fire while in Sri Lankan waters. Responding to a question raised by Leader of the Opposition, Sajit Premadasa, the State Minister said his ministry has sent all documents pertaining to the case to the Attorney General's Department, but a case has not been filed to date. He said Sri Lanka will be able to claim at least $4 billion and a case will be filed soon. Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government Ministry said the two government circulars issued in 2019 and 2022 stipulating a dress code for staff grade officers had been revoked with immediate effect. Ministry Secretary MMPK Mayaduna said the circular issued on February 1, 1989 will come into effect, mentioning the dress code of the staff grade officers. Tilini Priyamali and Janaki Sirivardhana, two suspects accused of massive financial fraud, have been remanded further until December 13th. Meanwhile, Venerable Borale Sirisumbanatero and Isaru Bandara, who were taken into custody over their links with Premali, were granted bail. The suspects were produced before the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court earlier today. And that ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as the Minister of Finance to take orders under the Foreign Exchange Act to facilitate payment by domestic controlled companies. It is for the import of raw materials to manufacture goods for the domestic market using foreign exchange remitted by their parent companies or subsidiary companies incorporated outside Sri Lanka. And that came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
Moving on to Watchlight, Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation Ministry sources said that work on 26 electric fences that were to be put up in 2022 to stop wild elephants from encroaching into villages have come to a standstill. It is due to protests staged by villagers against officials involved in the construction of the electric fences. Ministry Secretary Chandra Herath said this when Minister Mahinda Amaravira inquired about the progress of work on the construction of the electric fence project. The Secretary also said that the total distance covered under this 26 electric fence project is 315 kilometers. And that came to you in Watchnight. A bulletin of world news is next.
Be aware before you follow any vocational course. When you select a training institute, check and verify its registration and course accreditation by Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission (TVEC) without wasting your valuable time and money. Visit and meet skills development officers or career guidance practitioners. Visit www.tvec.gov.lk for more information. Message from Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to the bulletin of world news, first the headlines. Unrest continues in Guangzhou as lockdown anger grows. A senior Metropolitan Chief says Meghan faced very real threats. Jacinda Ardern and Sana Marin dismissed their claim that they met due to similar age. Now the world news in detail. People in the southern Chinese city of Guangzhou have clashed with police overnight in the latest protest against the country's strict COVID rules. Footage online showed police in white hazmat suits clutching riot shields to protect themselves from debris and glass thrown at them by the protesters. City officials said today COVID restrictions would be relaxed in several districts. China has seen record numbers of new cases in recent days. A senior Metropolitan Police officer has said the Duchess of Sussex received disgusting and very real threats while working as a working royal. The outgoing Met Police Assistant Commissioner Neil Basu said he would understand if Meghan had felt under threat all the time. He said people have been prosecuted over the threats. The leaders of New Zealand and Finland have dismissed a journalist's suggestion that they have arranged a meeting because they are similar in age. At a press conference in Auckland, Finland's Sana Marin and New Zealand's Jacinda Ardern said they met because they are prime ministers, not because they are both young female leaders. Ms. Ardern questioned if male leaders would have faced the same question. To end this bulletin of world news, back to the headlines. Unrest continues in Guangzhou as lockdown anger grows. A senior Metropolitan Chief says Meghan faced very real threats. Jacinda Ardern and Sana Marin dismissed claim that they met due to similar age. And that ends World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In development news, Minister Dr. Ramesh Pathiran's attention has been paid on taking over underutilized land owned by large-scale plantation companies, and the proposal regarding the issue has been submitted to the Cabinet for approval. He mentioned that legal measures will be taken in this regard in the future. This was stated at the Ministerial Consultative Committee on Plantation Industries held recently under the chairmanship of Minister Ramesh Pathirana. The minister mentioned this while giving an explanation to a concern raised by the leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, pertaining to the number of lands owned by large-scale companies. And that was development news. Moving on to sports news, first it's cricket. The third one-day international between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan is underway at Pallekele Cricket Stadium. Batting first, Afghanistan scored 313 for the loss of 8 wickets in their 50 overs. Najibullah Sadran scored 77 runs in 76 balls with 8 boundaries and 1 6. And that was sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Moving on to business news, Mount Lavinia Hotel, an iconic landmark in the Sri Lankan tourism catalogue, will reopen on December the 2nd after being closed for more than 2 years. Chairman and Managing Director of the Mount Lavinia Hotel Private Limited, Sanat Ukwata, said that due to the overwhelming request, they first offered the hotel as a COVID-19 quarantine centre. Thereafter, it was operated as a mini hospital. They said that they have now decided to reopen the hotel from Friday after refurbishment. And that came to you in business news.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
In economic news, the Tourism Alliance has released a comprehensive report analyzing international traveller demand for Sri Lanka utilizing search data. Currently, tourism trends are analysed through visitor arrivals. As a majority of potential travellers research holidays online, search terms and volumes can gauge future tourist arrival trends. The report, which can be downloaded, offers a year-to-date trends and demand for experience types and hotel brands up to the end of September 2022. And that was economic news. The weather report is next.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And finally, moving on to the weather report, the Met Department says a few showers will occur in the northern and eastern provinces. Showers or thunder showers may occur at few places in the Sabaragama province and in the Gaul and Mathura districts during the night. Misty condition can be expected in the western, Sabaragama and Nuwa provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning. And that was the weather report. And to end this main news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The World Bank expresses its satisfaction over the action taken by the government to ease the prevailing economic crisis. The Prime Minister points out that underutilized lands should be handed over to the youth for agricultural projects. District development committees will be established within the provincial councils. MP Thanathatha Kurala says that the cause of the downfall of the tea industry was stopping the provision of fertilizer. In news overseas, unrest continues in Guangzhou as lockdown anger grows. In sports, it's cricket. The third one-day international between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan is underway at Pallekele. And with that, we conclude this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.